Hello, my name is Alan Kavanaugh. I am the Director of Loss Control and Risk Management for Noratech Solutions, Inc., located in Prince George, British Columbia. With the latest release of the BC Fire Code 2018 edition, we'll be discussing the responsibilities and inspection requirements for building owners, operators, and school districts. Our discussion agenda today will include the national and provincial fire codes, BC Fire Code history, BC Fire Code and due diligence, what applies in buildings, your responsibilities, inspection requirements, and conclusion. The National Fire Code of Canada discusses various technical provisions regarding activities related to construction, use, or demolition of buildings and facilities, the condition of specific elements of buildings and facilities, the design or construction of specific elements or facilities related to certain hazards, and protection measures for the current or intended use of buildings. The National Fire Code established requirements include those in relation to safety, health, fire protection of buildings and facilities. The National Fire Code is a model code. It must be adopted by local provinces and/or territories. The National Fire Code is a model code. When adopted or adapted by a province or territory, it becomes a regulation. The latest National Fire Code release was in 2015. The most up-to-date BC Fire Code release, after the release of the NFC Model Code 2015, was the newest edition, brought out in 2018. The relationships to the building code and fire code can be fairly interesting. The building code covers fire safety and fire protection features that are required to be incorporated at time of original constructions. They must be incorporated in building design based on construction and occupancy. The relationships between the building code and fire code. The fire code provides provisions for ongoing maintenance and use of fire safety and fire protection features in the building, conduct of activities that might cause fire hazards in and around buildings, establishment of fire safety plans, and fire safety at construction and demolition sites. Fire Code Compliance, Division A, Section 1.1, and Fire Code Responsibility, Division C, Section 2.2.1.1, are as follows. Compliance applies to all new and existing buildings and facilities, and to building construction, renovation, or demolition sites. Responsibility, unless otherwise specified, the owner or owner's authorized agent shall be responsible for carrying out the provisions of this code. BC Fire Code and due diligence. BC Fire Code and due diligence basically states you as the owner or occupier of a building must adhere to all codes as listed in the BC Fire Code. You must maintain safety in buildings and schools, meet all standards and regulations, provide regular inspection programs, meet requirements for fire protection equipment, including sprinklers, fire extinguishers, fixed suppression systems, standpipes, fire pumps. Hazardous operations must be fully evaluated. Emergency planning must be provided, as well as fire drills. Now we'll discuss a brief history on the BC Fire Code. The office originated with its predecessor, the Office of the Fire Marshal, Established by the Fire Marshal Act, an act respecting fires and fire escapes. Approved November 9, 1921, and became in force in British Columbia in January 1, 1922. It basically dealt with getting people out of buildings in the event of a fire or a subsequent emergency. More on the BC Fire Code history. The British Columbia Fire Code is based on the National Fire Code of Canada, with some variations specific to British Columbia. The first British Columbia Fire Code regulation, BC Reg 46580, adopted the National Fire Code of Canada edition 1977 with amendments. Prior to adopting the National Fire Code, as discussed in the previous slide, the province made various regulations under the Fire Services Act or the former Fire Marshal Act. Next, we'll discuss a brief history of adoption between the National Fire Code and the BC Fire Code. 1963 was the first edition release of the National Fire Code. It was not adopted in British Columbia. Then, in 1975, another edition came out of the National Fire Code, the second edition, again not adopted by British Columbia. In 1977, the third edition of the National Fire Code was released, and the British Columbia Fire Code became in force in 1980, adopting the 1977 National Fire Code. Since then, there have been various other releases. The most up-to-date release would be the 2015 National Fire Code release, and the British Columbia Fire Code being adopted in full force in 2018. The Fire Code is broken down into three divisions. Division A defines the scope, objectives, functional statements, and the conditions necessary to achieve compliance. Division B provides the acceptable solutions, technical requirements to satisfy the objectives and functional statements as listed in Division A. Division C provides the administrative provisions. We will talk about these various divisions A through C in follow-up presentations. Next, we'll discuss what applies in buildings, new and existing buildings and facilities. Fire safety relates to specific elements of the building and facility, design or construction of the building protection as prescribed based on occupancy. Safety in use applies to activities related to the use of the building and facility, condition of the building or facility, inadequate built-in protection for the building or facility. Designed to provide and maintain a safe building or facility for all of those who occupy. This is the basic premise and idea of all applications of the British Columbia Fire Code. What are your responsibilities as a building owner occupier? You are required to maintain a safe building. You are required to control storage in the building, including service rooms, hazardous process areas, classrooms, etc. You're required to maintain a clear access to exits in buildings, maintain all exits, fire exit lights, and emergency lights. You are required to maintain all fire protection equipment. That would include fire extinguishers, fire suppression systems, fire alarm systems, sprinkler systems, standpipes, fire pumps, and specialized suppression systems. You are required to provide fire department access when requested, including providing them with a copy of your emergency response plan and a fire safety plan. Inspection requirements. This is very important when we're dealing with buildings and the responsibilities of building owners, including the due diligence requirements. The inspection requirements in the BC Fire Code fall under Division C, BC Fire Code Sections 2.2.1.2, Records, and Division B, Part 2, Building and Occupant Safety. A regular monthly inspection program should be developed and put into place that covers the following areas as a minimum. All rooms, hallways, means of egress, this would be your exiting sections of buildings, exterior exit stairs, pathways, and fire exits. All storage rooms, service rooms, and kitchens also need to be inspected. Fire safety systems, including but not limited to fire alarms, sprinkler systems, fire extinguishers, fire suppression systems, fire pumps, etc., need to be inspected on a monthly basis. Hazardous processes and operations specific to shops, labs, maker labs, 3D printers, and others also require inspections. There should also be at least a visual review of the fire safety plans and fire drills in all schools on a monthly basis. So in conclusion, we must remember it is your building. You are required to meet all aspects of the fire code, regardless of inspections that take place by a local authority having jurisdiction. You, as the building owner, occupier, are responsible to maintain all aspects of the fire code. You should provide a risk analysis or needs assessment. This is the who, what, where, why, and when section. Identify all areas to be inspection. Makes it a lot easier to develop specific ways of developing an inspection program that will meet the requirements of the BC Fire Code. Monitor your progress, make changes if required and as needed. Stay informed. Talk to risk management professionals, people in your industry, staff, and various other organizations. Thank you very much for taking part in this presentation today. If you have any questions, comments, or wish to contact me at any time, please see listed under my contact information. The best way and easiest way to get a hold of me is by email. Talk soon.